Hello, everybody. How are you doing on today? I trust that you're doing all right, as I am myself. And if you are, then I'm certainly glad. First, I want to say thank you for tuning in once again. I really do appreciate it. And of course, I would like to welcome you to another episode of TJ's Topics. It's always such a pleasure to be with you. And of course, I am TJ. Yes, I am. And it's good to be with you. Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity to come into your presence one more time. I really do appreciate it. And it's an opportunity and a privilege that I do not take for granted. It means the world to me. And you mean the world to me as well. And so, one thing that I've been thinking about, so I guess, well, today in particular, at the taping of this video, but even more so over the last few days, I've been thinking about how, you know, society tends to shun those who come across as lonely or alone, perhaps. You know, people think that because you're alone, you're lonely. And that's not necessarily the case. There are a lot of people out here, not just in this country, but in every country in this world, who live alone. You know, they have their own place, you know, whether it's a apartment or a house. They for the most part have a source of income, and most of them have a means of transportation. And they may have family and friends that they like to go and hang out with sometimes, and different activities to participate in, but that doesn't mean that they just want to be around those people all the time and in those certain places all the time. So my question is, why is it that for the most part, people, society at large seems to have a huge problem with people who are alone? And you may be a single person, never been married. You're not even looking to get married. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not open to a relationship, because you may be, but you just haven't met the right person for you yet. See, that's the thing. You may be looking for the right person in which to be in a relationship, but you have to be the right person to be in that relationship. But society, they like to play it up as if you're single, then you're unwanted goods. That's the way they make it seem. And one can't help but to wonder, I mean, is that really the way it is, or are they just stupid? Now, if you ask me, I would lean toward the latter. Because we do have some stupid people in this world. And I mean a whole lot of them too. And I have found some of the most stupid people to be in religion. You know, particularly in the church. And if you think about it, here in this Western hemisphere, religion plays a huge role in a lot of things, from politics to education to economics. I mean, it's like religion somehow has a hand in every major facet of life in America. And I don't think that's a good idea either, because, you know, they said to be a separation of church and state. But lately, and I guess, especially within these last 2 to 3 decades, religion has sort of, you know, eased its way into everything, you know, inserted itself into every aspect of civilization. The way this country operates. And so religion also plays a part in whether or not people want to even consider being with you in a relationship. And I don't think that's fair. And oftentimes they'll say that, they'll quote the Bible, to be not unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what fellowship does light have with darkness? And how can the two walk together except they be agreed? That, and what they use that as saying, if you're a Christian and then your mate is not a Christian, or they may come across as a quote backslider, then there's no way that the two of you can even have fellowship with one another. But do y'all think that's the case? So that leads to my subject today. And that's the reason why some people choose to be alone, or they're just alone by circumstance. But the topic is, being alone does not mean you're lonely. That's my topic. Being alone does not mean you're lonely. Now, society has it all screwed up. And I think, one thing I can say is, people out here in the street, they need to learn how to mind their own business. They need to get them some business of their own. Get a life, for goodness sake. I'm sure that if you went into some of their homes, you would find a whole lot of things out of order. You would probably find clothes piled up in a corner somewhere, or stuffed in a hamper that need to be washed. You would find floors that need to be swept and mopped. Bathtub need to be scrubbed out. Toilet bowl needs something done to it. Windows that need to be cleaned. Dust that need to be wiped off of furniture and bookshelves and what have you. All sorts of things in people's homes. But and like that old song by the Williams Brothers from a long time ago said, sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine. That's what folk need to do. But, I don't know. It's just like there's always something that's said about single people. Now, I have been single basically my whole life. I mean, I've tried to be in a relationship or two here and there, but nothing really panned out. And so, by age 33, I just came to accept the fact that, hey, it is what it is. And of course, that doesn't mean that I'm totally against being in a relationship or even being married for that matter. But one thing I would never do is to rush into something that I know that I'm not mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or financially prepared for. But you got a lot of these folk out here, and it seems like it's most of the old folk. Have y'all noticed that? It's these old people that they want to see these young folk hurry up and get married. You need to go and find your wife, and because that's what God wants you to see. When they insert God and everything, that's the problem right there. See, they think that they're moving and working on God's behalf, but being where I am in life now and knowing what I know, I do know that that's not the case, because I don't think that God or source or anything, whatever you call, um, whatever deity or power is out there in the universe, I don't think he or she or it would need any help from a mere human. but but some of these folk think that you know that's the case. So that's one reason why it's kind of difficult to be in a relationship with certain people, because okay, you got the religious factor, you got the emotional factor, you got the social factor. you know Sometimes you can get involved with a person, and this person may seem like they're just a tad bit above where you are, or on the other hand, they may come across as being subpar. They may be a little bit below where you are, academically and financially and otherwise. And folks will talk about them. They may not talk about your mate in front of them, but they'll get you off to yourself, and they'll ask you all kind of silly questions. What made you get her with her? Or what you see in him? All that kind of stuff to try to make you feel bad. But then you have those who are, for some reason or another, fearful of growing old by themselves, perhaps dying alone. But think about this, we came into this world by ourselves, and we will leave this world by ourselves. We're not taking anybody with us. It doesn't matter if you have people gathered around your bedside, or, whether you be in a hospital or at home or whatever. It doesn't matter where you are or what the case may be. You're going to leave this world all alone, just like you came into this world all alone. Yes, you came out your mother's womb. Your father may have been there. You may have had some other relatives there, along with the doctors and nurses and the staff. But the truth of the matter is, you came into this world by yourself, and you're going to leave this world by yourself. So why should we fear being alone? Well, I have a little bit of information I'd like to share with you. It comes from www.tonyrobbins.com. And I just want to impart a little something into you. Just give you something to think about concerning this matter. Being alone does not mean you're lonely. What causes the fear of being alone? There are 3 common contributors to the fear of being alone forever: your past, your self-esteem, and social conditioning. Past abandonment. When the person whose love you craved most as a child abandoned you and acted distant and uncaring. And it's a big cause of this fear for many adults. You may therefore associate being alone with being abandoned and unloved. That's one reason why most people, especially single people, they just can't stand being by themselves for extended periods of time. They always got to have somebody around them. And if you trace a person's situation back to whatever happened to them in childhood, that'll usually tell the reason why they're the way they are as adults. Now, many people also suffer from the lack of self-esteem, which traces back to limiting beliefs developed as children or teens. They aren't comfortable being alone because they don't want to spend time with themselves. Deep down, they may not like who they are. And they may have a constant need for stimulation in order to avoid their own thoughts and feelings. Now, that part, to avoid their own thoughts and feelings, look here, I love my own thoughts and feelings. I wouldn't sit up here and tell anybody, I wouldn't even go anywhere and tell anybody that I don't like to let my mind run free and look, I think about a lot of stuff, and then people will tell you that you're crazy if you talk to yourself. But I beg to differ. You are not crazy if you talk to yourself. In fact, I encourage talking to yourself, because when you talk to yourself, you are able to help yourself make rational decisions. You're able to comprehend certain things that, sometimes, it's all right to talk to certain people about stuff, but, sometimes they'll give you some unwise advice. They may not always give you the best advice when it comes to certain things pertaining to you and your life. And they'll tell you what kind of decisions you need to make based on how they see the situation. But they're not the one who is walking in and living in that situation. So how can they decide what's best for you if they're not going to have to deal with the outcome or face the consequences of said decision? So there's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. I have done that my entire life. And letting your mind run free, oh my goodness. You talking about a good feeling. And I'm going to tell you something else that's a good feeling too. When you wake up early in the morning from having good dreams about whatever, good dreams. And see, that's the thing about dreams. See, when you're alone, whether you sleep in bed alone, you live alone, when you lay down at night, first of all, your home is peaceful. There's no noise other than the refrigerator running, air conditioner coming on and whatnot. But there's no noise around you. It's totally peaceful. And you're able to lay down, and eventually you fall asleep. And then your mind starts to relax along with your body. And before you know it, once you enter that REM dream state, that's called the rapid eye movement dream state, that's when you start seeing all of these different things, and you can literally feel yourself experiencing it, because it's like you're there. It's been said that our souls leave our bodies at night while we sleep. And I do believe that, because there have been many times when I woke up from sleep during the night or early in the morning, and I felt like I had just fell back into the bed. I'm talking about just dropped back down into my bed at the moment before I awakened. And now, if I was sleeping with somebody, if I was married or in a relationship, and my mate was laying there beside me, and I'm experiencing all this now, in my sleep with dreams and stuff. If I got somebody laying there beside me, and I wake up from this dream, whatever it was, and my spirit or my soul drops back down into my apartment or my house, and I wake up, don't you think that my mate or my spouse would feel the jolt that I made in the bed, and that would disturb them? And then they want to be asking, what's wrong, baby? What's the matter? Are you all right? And then I got to try to explain and try to tell them, explain what my dream was and what I saw and where I went and what I experienced and what I did. And who feels like going through all of that when I'm trying to, collect myself and hoping to get back to sleep if possible so that I can get a little bit more rest before time to get up and get ready for work or get ready to get my day started. See, that's one of the benefits to being alone. Now, that may not make sense to some folk because, they've been married all their life. They've been involved with somebody all their life. And so they can't understand that. But for those of us who have lived the majority of our lives as singles, we know about these things. Now, the last contributor is social conditioning. Worrying about ending up alone is extremely common in our culture. We are raised with the idea of soulmates, a person who will complete our lives and make us whole, when what we really need to worry about is becoming whole on our own. A soulmate is just a complement to an already full life. That's why it's so important for us to find things to do, something that we enjoy. Get involved in different activities and, let's stir our imagination or, work on our hobbies and different things like that. And by doing so, we won't have time to worry about, well, I ain't got no man, I ain't got no woman, all that kind of stuff. Because having a man or having a woman, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be happy. Because to tell you the truth, I know a whole lot of folk out here who got a man or got a woman and they're not happy. Matter of fact, they wish sometimes that man or that woman would go on about their business so they can be by themselves and have peace of mind. Because people do get on your nerves sometimes. And I'm telling you, folks aggravate you, they will wear the hell out of you. They really will. Just think, if you done worked on all day on the job, your coworkers sometimes, if you're around them consistently and they all up in your face and saying this and saying that and telling you this and telling you, that's a nuisance. And then you go home and you got to put up with that same old crap. Your partner, your spouse, they nagging you about this, nagging you about that. That kind of stuff, oh my goodness. I don't see how some people can deal with that. That's why I feel that all couples don't really need to live together under the same roof. I don't think there's anything written in stone that says that a couple of any kind has to live under the same roof. They don't have to sleep in the same bedroom, in the same bed. They don't have to do that. Sometimes it's good for couples to have their own places, their own place of residence. You can have your place and let your mate have theirs. Then you go over and stay with them a night or two. They come over and stay with you a night or two. And because everybody's used to doing their own thing, living life on their terms. And then people have different sleep patterns as well. That's another thing you got to look at. Some people toss and turn at night, and then another person may sleep all night without tossing and turning. Well, the person who doesn't toss and turn, they're going to have a serious problem with the one who does. That's going to create a major conflict. So I don't see anything wrong if you're going to be in a relationship to have your own residence. You go over there, stay a night or two, then they come over and stay with you a night or two if you wish. But I mean, all this here staying in the same house and using the same bathroom. Look, and let me talk about that for a minute before I finish up here. Okay, said that y'all got a place together, but you only have one bathroom. Now, this is gonna be a problem because what if y'all got both of y'all got to use it at the same time? Both of y'all got to do number two at the same. Both of y'all got to sit on the pot, and and I can tell you because doing what I have done for the last 16 years in the school district, I don't care to go behind nobody in no bathroom after they just did number two to clean or otherwise. Now, you at home with your mate, y'all got a place together, a house or apartment or whatever. Both of y'all got the boo-boo at the same time. Look, if they go in there and use it first, now you know good and doggone well you're not gonna want to go right in behind them, and the bathroom's still stinking. You may have that exhaust fan over your toilet and turn it on, and it'll suck the funk out of there a little bit at a time, but it's got to die down. That fan gonna have to run for a while. See, that's another reason why folks ought not have a problem with being alone. Ain't nothing wrong with being alone because you use your own bathroom and you got the boo-boo, it's gonna stink. Look, you just turn the fan on and let it do its thing and come on out. It'll die down. But if you got somebody living with you and they got to use it too, even if they ain't got to do them, just go in there and pee. They don't want to go in there and smelling what you done did. So I don't understand why some people would fear being alone. It just, a matter of fact, when I think about stuff like that and a whole lot more, it kind of makes me glad that I'm the way I am right now. And things are the way they are right now. How fear of being alone affects relationships. Worrying about ending up alone can actually help to ensure that you do end up alone. The exact outcome you don't want. That's because of the law of attraction. Whatever you focus on, you get. And that's basically how it works. Whatever we think about all the time, eventually it's going to come to us, whatever it is. And that same thing can be applied to relationships, that same concept. The truth is that when you overcome your fear of being alone forever, you're able to develop who you are as a person more fully. You will bring purpose, passion, and personality to your relationships instead of fear. And that in turn will increase your attractiveness to others. And that is the law of attraction in action. Now, think about everything that we've talked about with regards to relationships and all the mess that goes along with it. Being in a relationship is good in its place, but as with anything else, it has its problems. Because you're dealing with another human being, and no human being is perfect under any circumstances. Nobody in this world has got it all together by any means. You're talking about another flesh and blood individual who has a past, who has a history, who had a life long before your paths crossed. And you don't know who all they have interacted with along the way. So that's why there has to be a certain level of patience demonstrated when getting involved with anybody in any type of relationship, because you just don't know what you're going to have to deal with, though we always hope for the best. And so that's why the fear of being alone, that ought not ever come into anyone's mind. But it should be a good thing to consider when you think about how things are and how life is, for yourself in particular. There's nothing wrong with being alone. You know, and that's why I have a problem with religion and with church, and because they always want to come down hard on those who are single, men and women. In fact, in service today, which is today is Sunday as I'm taping this, but you may see this on Monday. While in church, the pastor said that the reason why a lot of men don't have the favor of God is because they don't have a wife, and they use the Bible. He used the Bible to make that statement. He that finds a wife finds a good thing. You know, that's according to the book of Proverbs. But let me ask you this. If finding a wife is finding a good thing, and that's how you obtain favor from the Lord, then why are there so many marriages ending in divorce? And why are there so many men abusing their wives and murdering them at the same time, and vice versa? Do you think that the favor of God is involved in that? I beg to differ. So I say, to hell with that. So that's all I got to say on being alone does not mean you're lonely. I live alone in this apartment, and I have been living here now for going on 13 years. But rest assured, I'm not lonely. I have peace of mind. I'm content. I'm paying my bills, pay my rent. I'm eating good, drive good, wear nice clothes, and I don't bother anybody. So why do I need to feel bad about my marital status when I see a whole lot of married folk out here going through all kinds of hell? They can have it. So thank you very much for tuning in to me. And you may be one of those who is currently single and find yourself living alone, and that's fine. Don't let anybody make you feel bad on account of that. Just continue to live your life. And you may meet somebody someday that will complement your life, not complete your life, because no person can complete what you should already have established. That's the thing. See, nobody could ever come in and help me build my world because my world is already built. But they can enhance it or they can add to it, but they certainly can't build it because it's already built. And I hope yours is already built too. So until next time, this is Taryn Jerome Harris reminding you that every round goes higher and higher. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.